This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Oh, talk a little Miami Dolphins. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. And make sure you bookmark that Sports Illustrated page. How are you doing, sir? Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you? What's going on? Anything going on around the world of the NFL these days?
I don't know. Some guy named Tom Schmady or something. Tom Shady. Tom Shady is returning because he's shady with his retirements and shady how he inflates his balls. You know, he's kind of shady. So
yeah, not good.
Slim Shady's back.
Not good for my case of BFS.
No,
Brady fatigue syndrome.
Yes, yeah, no, you're gonna get plenty more now, baby. Plenty more.
Or if they come back from a deficit, no matter the circumstances, they'll be like, Brady brought him back again, like he did against the Rams, like because it had nothing to do with the Rams completely, like self-destructing. No, it was all Brady. Them and the Chiefs. No offense to the Chiefs. I mean, mad respect for them, but kind of fatigue syndrome there too. Anyway,
yeah, no, I get. Although with Brady's a little more fatigue syndrome than Mahomes, at least, you know. I will say this on the Brady thing. There's always this chance, and I talked about this in the first hour, that we don't know when Father Time comes knocking. And you and I are old enough to watch Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard and watch, you know, Dan Marino and watch Drew Brees last year and watch Ben Roethlisberger. And, you know, we could go over time and we watched the athlete who hung on just a year or two too long. Eric Gagne got to a point where he couldn't drag that can to the mound anymore, and he didn't have, you know, the firepower anymore, and you knew it at that point, and he had to go. And you just don't know when it's going to happen. And that's the one thing that you're rolling the dice. If you're Tom Brady, you might feel good, but from 1 month to another, dude, it happens just like that.
No, that's fair. But in the meantime, he's helping the Bucs a whole lot because right away, does Ryan Jensen re-sign with them if Brady's not coming back or doesn't announce yesterday that he's coming back? Yeah, maybe not. So no, he did him a solid by doing that. Then again,
maybe he's signing with the Dolphins, Ryan Jensen. That's what I was hoping for.
No, trust me, I know you were hoping that. So I mean, what the hell was the whole thing all along? I mean, dude, why are you making an announcement if? And immediately he made the announcement, and everybody was like, "Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to stick." Well, then why are you making the announcement? I guess you're really starving for attention that much. Like you haven't had enough over the past 20 years.
It's just one of those where you just look at it and I thought he wasn't that guy. I thought he was Tony Gwynn, and you know, I thought he was Andrew Luck, and I thought he was that guy that when I quit, I'm done. I'm not doing this drama shit, going back and forth. And if anything, we were all thinking, he's going to San Francisco. He wants a shot now with San Fran because they've got a D. They're ready to go. All they need is a quarterback, and they can win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Hometown team. Yep.
Right? Hometown team, all that stuff. And then this, and then Jensen.
But then again, Big O, if you're looking at a guy who's like, produce a documentary, like was it The Men in the Arena or whatever, and then he's got this podcast every week. I mean, ever since he left New England, I mean, he's put himself out there like he's a media conglomerate. So, I mean, between him and Aaron Rodgers, they suck up a lot of oxygen around the NFL world.
You wrote about some free agents you like for the Dolphins that fit what the Dolphins do. That you talked about. Well, one of the guys I wanted to now lean on now that my man Ryan Jensen is gone is Ben Jones out of Tennessee. Your thoughts on Ben Jones being a target for the Dolphins at center? Do you like him or do not like him?
No, I do like him. I find it hard to believe the Titans are going to let him go, though, to be honest with you. And that's the thing. That's the thing with a lot of these free agents. It's like it's great to want guys, but you have to look at the circumstances, and more often than not, those really good free agents wind up staying put. Like like Tomlinson, for example, like the 49ers, basically from everything I understand, either have decided that they can replace him easily, or they're not in a position, they don't want to invest the money in him, even though they do like him because he had a very good year last year, but that they're okay with moving on with him. So that's to me why there's such a, glaring. He's got the connection with Mike McDaniel, coming off a Pro Bowl year. It just screams logical fit for the Dolphins. Ben Jones would be an upgrade at center, really solid player. I have a hard time seeing Tennessee like letting him go, and he's been on a team that's been in the playoffs pretty much every year. Number 1 seed in the playoffs last year, even though it didn't turn out well. So if you're him,
tough, consistent,
correct.
Just durable. There's just a lot of things to like about that guy. Yep. He would be perfect for Tua right now, and it's exactly what he needs. And let me tell you something: you get him in Lincoln, and then you've got our boy on the right side, Hunt. I kind of like the middle of the line now. Now the middle of the line really starts to look like what Tua needs as a base, so that pocket doesn't crumble.
No, it's very solid, and yeah, I like Ben Jones. Like, I didn't mention him because again, I have a very hard time seeing him, getting away from Tennessee. To be honest with you.
Yeah, no, but you know how it is. Not everybody that's available, and you see it in your article, fits what they do. So you gotta. Correct. Some players may not fit what you do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do you think the New England tackle fits what they do?
Not that much, actually. Right? And I've heard his name thrown out there, and
a lot.
Good. And he's also a guy. He's also a guy who's been great in New England, but when he played for the Raiders, he was a mess. And no, I'm not a big fan of his. He's just really big and powerful guy.
I don't think he fits what they do. I don't think he fits what they do here, dude. No. I really don't. I think in a different system, yeah, in a man-on-man scheme there, yeah, that you can need to maul the guy in front of you, yeah. But on a zone, I don't know, dude. I don't know, and it's that's where, because people throw it out that way. And that's the problem. Sometimes people are throwing out names, but they're not really looking at the fit. So going off, give people a little bit of what you wrote about guys that you like, that you think fit. Give us two of those guys from your article.
Oh, you're asking, man. I write so many articles, and now you're asking me to remember.
It's like the top 2 in your thing. I just read them this morning.
I know, and I've been like writing other stuff. I'm like, man, and then. That's sad, actually. That
you talk defensive end. Does that tell you anything?
Well, no, but the thing, there's another one who came on the market today. They lose
Ogbah, okay.
Darius Thomas came on the market today, and he's not going to be cheap. But the guy before last year had like 26 sacks over 2 years combined. He's one who would be great. Oh, no, yeah, and I mentioned like two like long shots to watch on the defensive line. The 2 guys from the 49ers, Arden Key, who Dolphins fan will remember from the face mask penalty on Ryan Fitzpatrick on that long play. Well, that guy kind of like highly talented coming out of LSU, took a while to get his career in the NFL going for.
Yeah, he was an underachiever early on. Yeah.
A massive underachiever, but there's something there with the dude. And he's one of those under the radar, not like a $10 million, $11 million signing, but he's a guy like, and the 49ers also had a very interesting interior defensive lineman if the Dolphins want to pad up their depth over there, even though it's not a massive need. But D.L. Jones is a really good interior defensive lineman. And again, another under the radar signing on the defensive line. And I keep looking back to San Francisco, but that's where.
But dude, I love that article of yours, and that's why I brought it up on the DNs, because of what they just did with Ogbah. You know what I mean? Because he was kind of an under the radar guy too, because he was a bit of an underachiever in his first contract in the NFL. He never really he achieved what they wanted him to do here in Miami, actually. You know what I mean? So that's why I thought those names you brought up were kind of interesting, because something tells me they might be targeting, because if you got to spend a lot on the offensive line or possibly wide receiver in free agency, I don't think you can also do it at that position too. So maybe you go a little bit under the radar and you get that guy that's kind of underachieved early on. And I thought those guys. Now Zadar is a whole different ball game.
Correct.
That one is
going to be pricey.
Yeah, that's going to be 14 million plus a year, easy.
At least,
I don't know how much more higher because that's not my business, but it's going to be a lot of money that you're going to end up paying that guy.
No, I agree. And if you look, and I did something over the weekend of like the best free agent signings in Dolphin history, and the guy I had at number 2 was a guy who was that kind of player where he was a solid player, not a big flashy name, but his career was on the rise. And when he got to the Dolphins, it continued to take off. And that's Randy Starks, who was really, really good for the Dolphins. But he had never been to the Pro Bowl for Tennessee. He was just a solid on the rise type of player. And and then another one was the number 1 guy on my list was Brent Grimes, who had been to the Pro Bowl, but was coming off an Achilles where he had played only 1 year. So there was a little bit of a gamble there. If you recall, Dolphins signed him for 1 year, $5 million, and boom, makes 3 Pro Bowls in a row. So that's
we had a guy here in Paul Soliai. It took him a few years it took him to his 4th year to really figure it out. He started to show glimpses in his 3rd year, and then his contract year, he really blew up. But unlike other contract guys who then get the contract and then kind of become a bum, Starks was a good player from there on. The light went on for Starks is what I'm trying to say. It wasn't that he was swindling somebody for a contract or anything like that.
No, but Stark was just like solid, not like a not great.
Right. No, Starks is different. Yes.
And then he got to the Dolphins and he just kept going up and up and up, where he became a 2-time Pro Bowl player and was really, really good. Even though he wasn't flashy, so maybe to the average fan, he wasn't like, oh, this guy's really, really good, but he was really solid. And then I did something else also. Like, we all love the big splashy free agent signing. Those don't work out particularly often. So we got to be careful about looking for, like, for example, Allen Robinson. I look at Allen Robinson and I'm like, why?
2 years ago, yes, not now.
Why? He's going to be awfully pricey, and is he really going to be a difference maker? I don't think so.
At this point, I don't know anymore. You know what I mean? I think at this point, it's such a big gamble, Allen Robinson. It's like, who's the receiver you would want now in free agency? Because obviously Cooper's off the list. That's one guy that I really wanted. Is there a guy out there that you would clamor for?
Clamor for. Well,
did you want Cooper like I did?
Not at $20 million a year.
Okay.
Yeah,
right. That's fair.
But I did want. Yeah, I do like Cooper a lot. And I think it would have been a great addition. And the problem with wide receivers, so many of them have already been taken off the market.
I know.
I like Mike Williams a whole lot, even though I knew it was going to be very pricey, and I didn't figure the Chargers were going to let him go.
The back still scares me with him, but that's still something that he's overcome. I give him credit, man, but that was some serious stuff that happened to him early in his career. That is one tough hombre to come back from that. Is there a receiver that makes your toes tingle?
My toes tingle.
Great Mad Dog.
We bring back Will Fuller.
Will Fuller.
Yeah. Let's see my list here. I know you and I have talked about Jamison Crowder.
I love him. I love him for the slot. Love him for the slot.
How about Cordell Patterson at a decent price? Again, everybody.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say everybody at the right price, but Cordell Patterson is very interesting because McDaniel could do a lot of different things with him. He's obviously somebody who jumps out. I know Braxton Berrios has been mentioned. To me, that'd be a solid pickup because he could be a decent slot guy and return punt.
And returner.
Correct. So
he had a good year. It's weird that the Jets are allowing both to leave the door, Crowder and Berrios. I thought Berrios was going to stay. That's why they were letting Crowder go. And that made sense to me because Berrios kind of elevated his game this year, had a really good season. And you figure, okay, we'll play him in the Crowder role now. And they must have an idea for somebody else. But that's one established slot guy and another guy that really Berrios could be crossing that threshold of becoming a consistent slot player and returner for you. That's kind of odd. That one I really, really, really am up. But I love Jamison Crowder. I would love to see. That's one of the receivers I would like because that would allow you to put Waddle on the outside now.
Mm-hmm. The thing that's weird with the Jets, going back to that issue, is they have the second most cap space behind only the Colts. Dolphins are third. So it's not because they don't have the money, and it's not like either Crowder or Barrios are going to be like big money guys. So that they would allow both of them to go to free agency, indeed, is pretty weird.
Juju Smith-Schuster, somebody's bringing it up there. Plenty of people have brought it up. And King Shore brings up the guy that I really like a lot, which is DJ Chark. I love DJ Chark. That's one guy that Chark and Crowder would probably be my favorites. But going back to what's it called? Who I just mentioned right now before Chark. Who did I mention right now?
Juju.
Juju, yes. Are you a Juju guy?
I wouldn't overpay for Juju. I mean, Juju's monster year was when defenses were double teaming Antonio Brown left and right. Once Antonio Brown left, numbers kind of dwindle a little bit. The yards per reception average is horribly low.
Maturity.
Yeah. Although, see, to me with Brian Flores, that would have been a non-starter. His social media presence. I think Mike McDaniel strikes me as somebody who, like, you know what, as long as you get your job done, knock yourself out, just don't embarrass the team, you know.
Although I will say this, from now on, if I'm watching a player that I see has had some kind of maturity issues and finally the Steelers are letting him go after what I've seen with Le'Veon and Antonio Brown, and, you know, Ben Roethlisberger was, you know, he's as terrible as those guys are, you know, and even worse, maybe criminally, allegedly. I am going to start worrying about that because I now have this extra respect for Mike Tomlin that I've, you know, found somewhere, that how that guy is able to overcome some of these knuckleheads and get the most out of them, and yet somehow or another hide all the deficiencies. It's amazing to me. So I've seen stuff that Juju Smith-Schuster has done. I just wonder, what about the stuff I don't know about? And that's where that concerns me.
Yeah, but they're not letting him go to free agency. Like, for example, they basically wash their hands. They're like, okay, enough with Brown, enough with Le'Veon. Whereas with Juju, they're just letting him go in free agency. It's not, and remember, he was a free agent last year and they re-signed him.
Right.
So the issue with him is basically now production versus cost. And that's going to be the issue for any team that examines him, which is why, for me, yeah, if you get him really cheap, sure, why not? But to me, he should not command big money because the last 2 years he's been whatever.
I'll tell you this: Juju Smith-Schuster or DJ Chark. Where are you going?
Chark in a heartbeat. But with DJ Chark, we have to be careful. I got into Twitter, I posted a public service announcement on Twitter, basically suggesting that the people who keep bitching about Devontae Parker and his injuries absolutely now need to be quiet if they're pushing for Teron Armstead. Well, correct. But that's the same thing with DJ Chark. He's coming off a pretty serious injury. So,
but he's not. But he hasn't been injury prone. Like, this kid's been injury prone since college. You know, it's kind of like
the Dolphins still drafted him in the first round, which is, again, that's
right. But I get it why you did it out of college, because you were thinking, okay, well, it's not going to be a thing. And you just never know if it is a thing or not. Some guys had a couple of injuries and then they overcome it and they move on with their careers. And then others, it's who they are. And unfortunately,
but it increases the risk factor if you have that injury. And sometimes it works out, because it worked out with Jalen Waddle, who didn't have any issue whatsoever. What's up, Sean?
We got some breaking news. If he's chiming in, there's some breaking news right now. Sean, what is the breaking news?
It looks like a big move on free agencies from Marcel Louis-Jacques for the Dolphins. Just landed. Ogbah remains in Miami for 4 years, just over $16 million a year.
Ogbah, 4 years, $16 million per year.
Good move.
That's a great move. It's a great move. I'm really happy for that. And that's exactly what we were talking about. 15, 16, 17, 18. He was going to be in that neighborhood. 16. That's about right. I like that. All right.
And they had to do the little dance of, obviously, because the question is going to be asked, Sean, to have something else?
$32 million fully guaranteed.
Okay. Excellent.
There you go.
Or Drew.
some people are going to be like, well, couldn't they have done this earlier? Yeah, they could have done this earlier, but the old saying, deadline spur action.
Well, they could have done it earlier, but earlier Drew wanted 18 per year.
Maybe.
And they were,
and maybe the Dolphins were offering 14 per year.
Right. So they kind of met in the middle. And then Drew knows what the rest of the league is offering because he took the pulse throughout the week at the combine, because that's what they do, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not kid ourselves.
No, they don't do that.
So the 16 or 17 he might have gotten in somewhere in California or New York is not worth the same 16 that you get here in Miami. And Chris knows that. So actually, what you got to like is that Greer actually plays hardball and he doesn't really, flinch that easy. You know what I mean? So this is a really good move.
No, I completely. I've been advocating that. I mean, I wrote a story and then reset it 18 different times. The number one priority to me in free agency was re-signing Ogbah.
Yeah. It makes sense, man. Yeah. Makes all the sense in the world that you bring back Ogbah. I love that move overall. All right, what are you working on? I guess you'll be working on an Ogbah story and other things for the Dolphins.
Maybe. I think I might go bang out a little Ogbah story here.
All right. But do you think they'll still go defensive end in the draft or in free agency for an under the radar guy now as a rotation?
Oh, absolutely, and to build up depth, no question. But you don't need the big ticket guy anymore. No, I also don't think. Yeah, I don't think they're going to go edge in the first round at 29, and I don't think they go an offensive line at 29. Those are the two that I would personally. And they're not going quarterback at 29. And they're not going tight end at 29. So those are the positions I would eliminate. Anything else is on the table as far as I'm concerned.
Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Go to Sports Illustrated, catch his exceptional work, bookmark it. Every Dolphin fan in the world should be bookmarking it. He is Alain Poupart. Alain, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you and that Expos hat.
Well, thank you, sir. And the Expos hat, thanks you.
There you go. Alain Poupart, baby. And our sports team.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.